Yo, Overhaul is really shaping up to be a fucking fantastic villain of Boku no Hero Academia. Like, oh, those final words from him in this chapter. Where he's like, there's a lot of kids sick these days. Like, those kids are getting sick with hero syndrome. I'm like, bro, yo, that shit's straight fire. Like, that's fire, because, you know, Plague Doctor and all that, the way we see how his personality's been displayed and all that, he doesn't like getting dirty or whatever, and then just seeing when he's like, they've been overcome by the sickness hero syndrome, I'm like, yo, like, that's just badass. Like, that's really badass. I don't know how many cared about that line, but just seeing the way the man just presented himself and all that, he's just walking on by, and you have his soldier right there just saying, boss, I'm sorry, I let my eyes off of her for a second. He just fucking whacks this man to the fucking side. He disintegrates. He's just a big puddle of blood on the wall, and then he's like, clean that up as well, and he just doesn't care. Like, he doesn't even acknowledge this man. Like, he just straight up just hits the man, he disintegrates, and then just keeps walking. He's like, just clean that up too. And I'm like, yo, like, this man, pure fucking savage. Like, Overhaul is looking to be a fucking awesome villain. Now, I don't know if he's gonna be able to beat someone like, you know, Stain or, you know, All for One. However, I'm really loving the personality of Overhaul. He has so much hype behind him. I also love the way his just personality is. It's just such a very good personality for a villain, and so I'm just excited to see where Horikoshi wants to take his character. Now, with that being said, though, let's talk about something. So, if you're all unaware, many were asking me last week, where the fuck was the chapter of Boku no Hero Academia? In all honesty, I'm curious about that as well, which I have my theories, but overall, we don't really have any confirmation at this time of what really caused it. Now, you remember 2 weeks ago, I made a video talking about, you know, the latest, you know, chapter of Boku no Hero Academia, and I was saying, like, what's going on with the fucking art, because it definitely wasn't just an isolated incident just with, you know, Horikoshi, it also happened to Black Clover as well, so it wasn't just affecting Boku no Hero Academia. If it was just Boku no Hero Academia, I feel like there was something going on with Horikoshi, but because also the mangaka of Black Clover got affected, something had to have happened in Weekly Shonen Jump's magazine, and right after that, once all of that happened, next week, or last week technically, no chapter of Boku no Hero Academia. We didn't really get a reason or anything, just there was no chapter at all. Black Clover was in it because if we actually consider both chapters, Black Clover was way more finished than what Boku no Hero Academia's chapter was. I mean, if you compare, like, the artwork and stuff from both chapters that came out, you know, 2 weeks ago, obviously Black Clover looked way more finished than Boku no Hero Academia. So my assumption is that Horikoshi was behind schedule, or they were both behind schedule, and it seemed like Horikoshi overall was way behind. He didn't have many chapters planned ahead. He was working on the current chapter week-by-week basis, which resulted in that issue, and because of that, it caused last week where he didn't have a chapter out. He didn't have a chapter to present because he just didn't have enough time to be able to do it. Now, regardless of whatever it is, either he got sick or he didn't have enough time or whatever it is, I do feel like Horikoshi deserved a break. I don't know what exactly caused it, but I do think he deserved a break. I mean, if we really think about it, okay, Horikoshi as a mangaka, he has been very consistent since he started writing his series, which makes sense. When you're a new mangaka, obviously you can't afford to take breaks. I mean, that's just the harsh reality of it. I mean, if you take a break, you're going to have it to where your, you know, popularity is going to decline, people are not going to want to, you know, care to read your chapter on a weekly basis, which will result in Boku no Hero Academia eventually getting canceled / axed. And so he couldn't afford to go on breaks constantly because he had to write his manga to make sure he gained popularity and people enjoyed what he was writing. And so that's probably why he pushed himself so hard. And also, I'm willing to bet you it's because he loves writing so much, but that's another reason too, in terms of business perspective. Most likely he just could not afford to take a break. He had to keep working. And I feel like after working on Boku no Hero Academia for so long, so many months and years now, he actually hasn't really taken a break. He hasn't. I mean, if you really go back, he hasn't taken a break. The only time Horikoshi has taken a break is a mandatory break, which is because Weekly Shonen Jump will not have an issue that week or that month or whatever. That's the only time he's ever actually had a break. So when you look at it like that, it makes sense why we should be able to accept this and stomach, Horikoshi not having a chapter last week. And I feel like anyone that is complaining, honestly, should really factor that in. This man's been working hard, constantly, every single week. And being a mangaka isn't easy. Many might think it's easy, but it's not. I mean, from articles and everything that's been out with how hard their job is, how much time and effort they put in with the lack of sleep and their diet and all that, it's really hard work. And I really commend the passion of the mangaka, all mangaka, for doing what they're doing and writing the series they love. And I feel like if Horikoshi needed a break last week, I think we should have allowed him to take a break. It doesn't matter. If he needs to take multiple weeks, let this man take multiple weeks break, because he writes quality content. We come back every single week and we enjoy this stuff we get. And I feel like anyone that was complaining last week, seriously, give the man a break. He's been working hard for the past couple of years. Let this man have a week off. So, enough with that. Enough with my little off-topic mini/rant or whatever. Let's talk about the latest chapter of Boku no Hero Academia. So, okay. This chapter really shows the difference between Togata and Izuku. And what I'm getting at is, it shows why it seems like Izuku is more of a better fit for becoming the next All Might. Because this chapter really presents two things, or presents a big thing that shows why maybe Togata, he's a good person, he's a good hero, but he would not live up to the standards of All Might. And just hear me out, okay? Because it's pretty important. So let's look at the situation here. A little girl comes from an alleyway, she runs over to Izuku. And she's grabbing on Izuku for her life. Like, she doesn't want to let go because she's in danger. And because of this, you obviously know something is wrong. It's just common sense right then and there. I mean, anyone should obviously notice something is wrong with the girl. But then on top of that, when someone like Overhaul, which is already under investigation, pops up and all that, it's like, oh, that's my daughter, she's just, acting like that, and he's like, oh, what you doing? You doing hero work and all that? And he's like, oh, what, business do you work for, whatever, what hero are you working underneath? And he was trying to pry for information, and just, overall, there was a lot of key things throughout that entire exchange that was just very off and suspicious, which made it to where, obviously, Izuku's reaction was actually the proper one. Now, many might side with Togata and say, like, he was doing the proper response to that scene, but honestly, I'm against that, because sometimes, as a hero, you might even need to break the law to be able to continue doing your hero activities, because I'm willing to bet you right now that All Might would probably break the law, or go further than what he needs to do to be able to save someone. He wouldn't let someone that's in desperate need of help, just right there, suffering, he wouldn't just turn a blind eye. He wouldn't look away and all that and just think, there's nothing I can do because the law tells me I can't. There's just no way in fuck All Might would allow something like that to happen. He wouldn't. And that's kind of the line in this chapter, what it shows, the difference between someone like Izuku and someone like Togata. Now, like I said, Togata is a very good man. He's a good character, he has a good personality, and he does think for the greater good of the people. He's a good man. However, what we saw in this chapter shows how there is a line he still is holding him back. For instance, he is not willing to go past the limits. For instance, break the law to be able to do what is right, which is what we saw Izuku do. He was willing to pry for information. There was a lot of things there that was very off, and what Izuku was saying was something you should honestly say because of all the information you already know. For one, like I said, Overhaul, he's under investigation already, so that automatically flags him as someone that is a suspect and someone that is very dangerous. All of a sudden, you see a little girl just running up to you, all scared, bandages, shaking, crying, no shoes, and all of a sudden, she doesn't want you to go or whatever, but then Overhaul pops up, which, like I said, under investigation, is like, oh, that's my daughter and all that, she just running and just act like everything is fine. That's suspicious as fuck. And so when you saw Togata trying to stop Izuku, I'm like, no, that's not what All Might would want. In all honesty, regardless, All Might would probably do exactly what Izuku did in this chapter, stepping up and trying to help out. And you gotta also admit that one scene, which when the little girl realized if she would have continued to stay with Izuku, their lives would have been in danger, because she let go of Izuku. She let go and she went off with Overhaul because she realized if she kept doing what she was doing, Overhaul was gonna, use his quirk and kill Izuku and Togata. And we gotta remember, once again, Togata is a very scary villain. What makes him very scary is the fact that his quirk ability can insta-kill someone, from what we're aware of at this time. Now, there probably is limitations to his quirk or whatever, which we're unaware of, because when it comes to a powerful quirk, there is a lot of limitations. There's a lot of weaknesses to him. I mean, let's look at Togata for a second. So I'm willing to bet you when Horikoshi finally wants to dive into it, Overhaul will have something very crucial to his quirk ability that is a fatal flaw. Overall, though, from what we know now, though, his quirk ability is very scary. It's a scary quirk ability because if you're unaware of it and he grabs you or touches you in any way, you're fucking dead. There's just nothing you can do. So because of this, that makes it dangerous. If Izuku would have continued prying for more information or continued following Overhaul, it would have caused it to where he would have died, or Togata would have died. And the little girl knew this, because she's already very aware of what type of person he was, and so she let go of Izuku and just went off with him. And he showed his killing intent to show, I will do this if you do not come with me. And even Togata realized what he was doing. He realized that Overhaul had killing intent. He's like, did you not feel that killing intent and all that? That's why she went with him. Togata realized this, but he still, once again, did not do anything. You want to know why? It's because the law. The law limited him. The law limited him to where he wouldn't step up and do the right thing, which is the complete difference compared to him and Izuku. Izuku, regardless of what you say, he's probably going to break the law. He would break the law to save a girl, to be a hero. He would. And that's exactly what we see happening in this chapter. Izuku is willing to do what is right, even if it means going against what is already set in stone by the laws of the people. And that right there, I appreciate and I respect. I like what Horikoshi tried to do with this chapter, and to show why someone like Izuku is more worthy of One for All, instead of someone like Togata. Because Togata, even if he had all that power, he would turn a blind eye to someone in need of help because the law. So yeah, that's pretty much the main point of interest of this chapter I really wanted to talk about. Now, besides all of that, we also have the stuff towards the end with Eri. I think that's her name, the little girl. She is being used for some reason. We don't really know exactly what she's being used for, but obviously she's very important to Overhaul in his overall operations, what he is doing at this time. And there's a lot of bandages on her arm. If I had to assume anything, it's probably some form of needle marks or something. They're probably needing her blood or something like that, because if you think about it, obviously there might be some form of ability or whatever that's probably canceling out quirks, and maybe she's the reason why those, you know, quirk canceling, like bullets or whatever, is being used. Most likely she plays a role in that. Most likely she is the one that is actually causing this to where people can have their quirks completely canceled out, and so that is why someone like Overhaul needs her, probably because she's the one supplying him with that ability, and she's obviously doing it against her will. That's probably what is happening here. So regardless of that, though, a very good chapter of Boku no Hero Academia. I'm pretty excited to see where it's going to go and where Horikoshi takes it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.